Peace and blessings, family. Sister Ajali. I don't know if this will be long or short. I just feel like I want to speak comfortably and edit it together so it's more cohesive than when I do the lives, even though I enjoy the lives very much. But, I could take my time, and I entreat that you watch the entire share all the way through. That is so empowering to me when I can see evidence that people are watching all the way through. And I understand that it helps the algorithms, though I seem to be a special case on social media. So whatever might be of assistance is a wonderful thing. Hit like, leave a comment if you can. I don't know. So many people, I think, aren't able to do that, but I entreat you to leave comments because I love reading what you have to say. And go to 25000yearcycle.org in order to avail yourself of the healing that is on our website through Dr. She's products and through my own. There's Ajali Shabazz up there, and that reminds me to thank you beautiful people who just keep me solid. Brother Ali, I say your name because I know, Brother Ali, you just are a warrior like that. And I take that, the keeping everybody else's names very, very sacred, because many of us have duties, responsibilities, and it's simply because I seem to be the only Black person on the entire planet examining the details of radiation so that all of us can save our planet. I have assess that it must be a really dangerous subject matter to cover. Thereby, I only use your initial when I'm thanking you for your purchases and for your donations. So Sister L, I thank you very, very much for your purchase of soap. You bought the packages, 3 of them, which is absolutely astoundingly wonderful. And Brother Jacob, I know you are fighting on the front lines, so I'm so grateful to you for your just brand new order of Silbar soap. That understood. Let's get into the topic of Dr. Umar, and I don't even know what I'm going to title this, but it is wild. Our good brother, Mad Black TV, did this share about the Prince of Pan-Pookiism, I like that, Umar Johnson, and I have been looking at Umar sideways, knowing that he's just, in my conclusion, my firm conclusion, Umar is a straight up agent, okay? And I'm going to also just show the evidence thereof in multiple ways. Number one, our brother shared this picture of Umar wearing a bandana or a headband that is, at the time I thought it was, like they have red, black, and green, but I've seen some people with green, red, and yellow, and that's also like pro-black. But this has this pentagram. It's an upside down star, and it also has the Chinese, I like to refer to it as the CCP flag, because China has been utterly just beguiled and taken over, in my firm conclusion, even though they came pre-beguiled, because they just have a very, like a lot of different nations, they think that having stuff is proof of superiority. And a lot of us are thinking that way too, where they assume morality is the house that you have. And you could have even families that refuse to talk to any of their family members who are still just renting, even though the people who are renting get up and get out a whole lot faster than anybody who's straddled with a house, okay? And you got a mortgage and all these different things that you have to take care of. The people renting, you gone, okay? And so with the CCP flag up on there, I watch so many just truth-telling videos about what's going on in China, and I do further research just to verify it. That's what I do with the radiation too, and so that I know China is in a free fall decline. Starvation has started happening. You're not going to see it in the mainstream of piss media, Western media whatsoever, because they all work together. In terms of China, I know because I had shared pictures of how they were testing fish and crabs during the whole corona hysteria stuff and their draconian lockdowns. And I'm like, these are sea creatures. They don't get respiratory infections because they don't have lungs. Their bodies don't operate the same way as, mammals' bodies do. And thereby, I looked at that, I said, they know that they're testing for the radiation, and they know about Fukushima. They know about what man-made radiation does, because China is one of these nuke-owning countries. You cannot attempt to manage the incinerating reality of nuclear, man-made radiation, and you have no concept of what it does and how it does it. And so when I see a CCP flag up on Umar's head and in an upside down star, I just made a comment down here and I was surprised. I'm going to give credit if I can. YouTube usually never lets anyone see my comments when I leave them on Mad Black TV. They used to remove them, but then I would go and do a screen capture and put a little meme up. And they want to give the impression that they truly are about honesty and, truth, and they're righteous. And you want to stay with these white people because they're just so fair and good, okay? And the more people showcase the duplicity of all of that, including like with Google, where they changed their mission statement. At the outset, they were like, oh, we're going to be balanced. We're going to be about, equality and doing the right thing. And they had to change their whole mission statement to, we're going to do what we have to do. And that's why all the censorship, that it started going overboard. And now it's getting even worse because I said they've run out of time. And we were all supposed to be in blood-drenching civil war by this time. And that hasn't happened. Dr. Shi had said to me a couple years ago that Americans are really comfortable. They don't feel like going out and just like slaughtering people and getting slaughtered. And so when it comes to the acceleration of what the effects of man-made radiation, the elites have run out of time. And that's the reason for the AI programming, is that way they can get these draconian just strategies enacted to shut everybody down and out, because they're building up the case for folks to just have to draw blood. I'm not saying I'm about that. I'm not. But they're slowly making it worse and worse. And at a certain point in time, they're still trying to make it seem like we, us, we're the bad guys. They're doing their best with, they wanted to get Trump out of the bullseye as pedo president #1. And so they're blaming Obama for the whole Russiagate thing, but Obama's with them. Obama's a pedo. They all work together, just like China and the West. And so when I left this comment, I was surprised that it stayed up there, but that bandana with a small hat pentagram, the CCP flag, and then our colors as background is all I need to know. Sometimes you'll never get a confession, which is why one must watch their deeds and their headbands. And so this person right here, first off, I thank Brother Mad Black for, leaving me a super like. I love to see the heart thing there, especially from him. He's very selective about who he leaves his hearts with. And so this particular person, Kurt Cobra, who I find is, interestingly enough, a little Asian child smoking a cigarette, that says a lot. I firmly conclude that a lot of social media is directly controlled by the CCP. And so the bandana is the Ethiopian flag. Now, I had left a comment here in response where, let's see now, the Ethiopian flag's star is not upside down. I had also said that that is fully satanic. That is a, oops, sorry about that, pentagram, a satanic symbol applauding greed, gluttony, hedonism, and lying. I didn't put lying the first time, but I'm putting it now. All right. And the Ethiopian flag doesn't have a CCP flag on top of it. All right. Let's hit reply. I'll come back and check it out because they removed it the last time. But let's go on over and check out the Ethiopian flag so we could make, well, let's first go back up here and display fully. That's upside down, okay? And this is right side up. Now, when you see a star, oftentimes they're depicting it in the way that Da Vinci drew the man in the star, so that the head, the thinking part is on top. With the pentagram, it is this way because, and it's satanic because this is where he's not thinking. That man ain't thinking anymore. He's just, his whole crotch area is pointed up because that's all he's thinking about. And that is all of this encouragement to debauchery, to even, I said the orgies are on the way. They're pushing for it because they know in that state, people are not going to think clearly at all. And definitively over here, and so you see the definite difference right here. Omar's not stupid, and he's given out more than enough signals in his deeds that he's not here to be pro-black. He's here to defame pro-blackness so that the average person who's not going to understand all of these things, because most of us don't do any research, we don't have time. A lot of us will have 2-3 jobs, okay? We're not going to realize, we're going to think that Umar is the sign of pro-blackness, and that's not the case at all right? But with the, let's just take a visual of the CCP flag right over here. That's what it is. It's red, and it's got the stars that, even with them, they make sure they kind of have them upright. All right, except for this one right here, which is going down. But the Republican Party had, at a certain point in time, they used to have their elephant. I think they're the ones with, or the donkey. I think they're the donkey. But anyway, they used to have their stars with the head up top. And then one year, they suddenly changed it so everything was upside down. I don't know if they still have it that way. But when I saw that, I knew what that was. And I said, oh, they're going into the deep lies right now. I'm not saying that the Democrats don't lie too. Of course they do. You can't support wokery and not be about supporting absolute and total lies. I'm just saying that, first of all, also looking at Umar's face right here, he looks like he was, in my conclusion, he looks like he was beat down because his eyes are really swollen, he might be wearing, makeup or something. He could be using, I doubt he's using a beauty filter, okay? But I've been also talking about different celebrities who are showing up with black eyes. Just one eye is kind of, it looks like it's just one eye on him that's visibly swollen. They're sending out signals to their representatives, their cohorts, and all of this mayhem they want to get enacted and started, that we mean you harm if you do not successfully encourage chaos in the American society out on the streets, because otherwise in Rosalie Bertel's book, she outlines just the military strategy of man-made radiation. And she discussed a book that went over a global meeting that they had, where they confess that they need war in order to maintain their illusions, their delusions about superiority. That's why I call it whiteism and not white supremacy, because there's absolutely nothing about them that's supreme. Evil doing, genocide is not supreme, right? And in that section she was describing, they were saying that they cannot manage hegemony over everything unless everybody's terrified and there's wars, specifically wars, and that is what they want to bring about. And so I've covered the strategy to have China go on into Africa, and I've seen it. The other African channel that I saw change their narrative was Tunacheki. And I really like Tunacheki, but now I don't. Where suddenly it was just like they recorded the live broadcast of the BRICS summit with China, Belt and Road Initiative, which sounds like even the name Belt and Road, what? And when I've learned in terms of the failures of these projects that China will come in to build in so many nations, not just in Africa, but in, Vietnam and other Southeast Asian countries, they'll build them there too. And how it's so shoddily built that you'll have places where airport roofs will just collapse, and it's not the radiation, it's the Chinese tofu dreg construction. And then they bring in only Chinese workers and managers to build it, so that these native countries get no money from this whatsoever. They're so ravenous for respect from the rest of the world because they've just bowed down to whiteism, and they think that civilization is about fancy buildings rather than just knowing how to get along with people. And so they will just accept these conditions that China puts out, which then makes them nation slaves to China. And the whole thing goes back to the 70s when they divvied up. They were going to just carve up Africa. And the way that they were going to do that was they knew they had to have the Chinese go on in there, because at this point in time, the Europeans and the Americans have burned their bridges into Africa. And to have China be exposed for the tofu drag nation that it is, where its own populace is in the middle of starving right now, and they're stoking at the Chinese people against all Africans, because when the African students come in to learn in China, they're given stipends worth thousands of dollars per month. And I'm talking dollars, not yuan, okay, or however they pronounce their monetary system. And while the Chinese people are getting crap, they have this whole work paradigm called 996. where they work from 9 in the morning to 9 at night, 6 days a week. Right now, they used to make us work like 20 hours a week. I'm just 20 hours a day. But I'm just saying, in terms of, nobody would accept that type of, like from one job. A lot of us are working 2, 3 jobs, but still, nobody. If you went to one job and that was like, okay, you'll be working 9, 6 days a week, nobody would go for that. But it's pissing Chinese people off because they're also losing all their money. If they have a job, they're lucky as heck. Right? The whole nation's a giant Ponzi scheme. And thereby, when they see African students coming in and they're getting a couple $1,000 stipend from the Chinese government, from the CCP, they're pissed as hell. When they learn that these African, governmental level people are getting massive kickbacks, because that's what's making them just report, oh, everything's wonderful about China, when no, it's not. Right? They are setting it up for friction. So when I see Umar with this headband, and it's got the Chinese flag in it, and I just talked about how in California, all those immigrants were coming in, several of them were wearing Chinese flags on their backs. There's a huge setup going on right now for massive takeover, massive war. Gavin Newsom welcoming Xi Jinping in, and all he went to was California, and they cleaned up everything instantly, so it was just sparkling. But then every other day, they don't know what to do with the homeless. That's a setup. That's a massive setup. This is a massive setup here too, where they're like, Stephen A. Smith? They're promoting Stephen A. Smith. Daily Mail is so racist, so controlled, so that they're promoting Stephen A. Smith, and I'm sure they have him other places all around, but I cannot forget this dude up there with Stephen Clark. Stephen Clark was out there when he was out there. Who knows what happened to him now? But he was out there just applauding white people for hating us. I don't want to accuse him of anything he didn't say, but I think he was just as bad as Tommy's sort of a man, right? Sotomayor. And that wasn't even that's not even Tommy's name. Okay? Those are the type of black people they want. So this is just right here, control opposition, because Michelle's on the same side too. And that's why she hooked up with Barack Obama. I didn't even know until Dr. She told me the 2 children were made by artificial insemination. Ain't nothing happening romantically up in that marriage, I would hazard a guess 100%, because she was put up in Jesse, the guy, I can't remember, Keep Hope Alive, in his offices, because she's reportedly part of a circle where they're recruited to marry gay men. And now she's out there in public just trashing Obama every time she gets, because I suppose she wants to sort of secure some sort of respect when they expose Obama completely. They're only doing 1/4 of the stuff they got on Obama, because he was up there, right there with Trump. I don't see the pictures of that so far. That's my conclusion firmly, that if they got stuff on Trump, they got reams more on Obama. Right? He goes right on back to the Rothschilds as far as legacy goes. I'm just saying, in terms of all these people, they all have the same bloodlines. Right? So for them to have Stephen A. Smith, and he was even saying he was going to run for president. No, this is one of their epic Procyon loaders. He'll do and say whatever he needs to please his whiteism masses. And now they're going after Charlemagne. I hate Charlemagne. Charlemagne is such a Procyon loader. It's not even funny. But that's how bad it's getting, where they need results. They need us to be the face of wokery. That's what they want, very much so, because they want to stoke clueless white people into or away from knowing who is really the perpetrators of all of this madness, and it's theirs. It's theirs. They own the media. They're the ones who put all this crap out here, and they want to actually accuse Charlemagne of being a racist sleazebag. Get the hell out of here. Get that. This dude is such a sucker to the pink folks. He's even had skin lightening. I'm just saying, in terms of the madness of him, right? So for him to have how easy for Trump to just trash this dude, just like it's so super easy for them to trash Meghan Markle. But what they want is they want white people to once again get back to their Jim Crow era comfort of being the real racist, but just swirling it around. So it's like the Turner Diaries, where they're like, oh, we've been vindicated in hating black people exclusively, when sorry, but we don't own Fukushima Daiichi. Like here on my profile, I didn't go to check to see what's happening, but I was really surprised that they left this comment up there. And like I said, if somebody's going to get credit, I give them credit. But I think it's simply because I started recording it when they first took it down. Right? And I put a second one up there. And I think they pay attention because they have little back windows. They said with the Chinese in the solar panels, they found little recording devices. I'm like, just in the solar panels? Hell no. They got them in the phones, in the computers, and it's not just the Chinese, it's all of them. Right? They remember the Israelis had their little pagers that they had sold to Hamas blow up and actually kill some people. It's just the pagers? Hell no, it's not. Right? And so this one I had put on this article, Safety Fears. Let's get rid of that right there. At Florida nuclear plant, as bombshell report says staff too scared to speak out about dangers. Oh my goodness, Rosalie Bertell, and also this is one of the reasons why I'm so happy. There have been white people doing the right thing. Salute Alice Stewart. They should be doing a movie about Alice Stewart. This is gripping drama right here. Her life, her family's life, and then what she managed. She put a stop to all above ground testing of nuclear bombs. And it's not testing if you explode the whole bomb and it's spilling radiation all over the planet. It's simply a bomb. And the radiation is the most deadly aspect of it. And so this right here, they don't talk about this stuff, right? And they wanted to, I'm sure they would love for me to come out and say, oh no, just, hurt these and hurt those. I don't even want to say the words that are associated with doing harm to people, because I don't want them to, isolate out certain things that I say and make it seem as if that's what I'm about, because these people are liars. They're straight out liars. I in no way wish anybody any harm, and never have. Okay? I don't wish myself harm, because they'll lie about that. Thank you, Baba Steve Coakley, for being so instructional on how to be here for our people. Right? And so this right here, that's what my comment was about. Let's see, can I go straight down? No, I might as well just scroll through the whole thing. And I didn't even read because I knew it was just going to, they'll say, oh no, but this happened 60 years ago. Or this is, segregated to this one little section right here. And no, man-made radiation is no more dangerous than what's in a banana. They kept telling the world after Fukushima. So why is this tiny reactor's issues a big deal? Unless the world is already in a great deal of obliterating danger. That's never discussed. The amount of comments or likes on this will never change. And you know what? I'm not mad at Daily Mail for that, because Daily Mail is a privately owned platform, where social media, that's a whole different thing. And so let's see what happened to my comment here. Still here because I never refresh. The Ethiopian flag star is not upside down. That is a pentagram, a satanic symbol applauding greed, gluttony, hedonism, and lying. And the Ethiopian flag doesn't have a CCP flag on top of it. Let's see if it's still there. Oh, here it goes. It's refreshing. And let's go on down. And no, it's not. It's gone. It's gone. And I think, let's see. But they left this dude, the little Asian child dude's comment up here, as if I don't know what I'm talking about. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. We must recognize that these people, in their own insane mindset, where they believe war is a strategy for victory, and they've killed the entire Pacific Ocean, which reminds me to read something out of Rosalie Bertell's book, because one of the things they said with Fukushima fallout and all the waters that they are spilling out into the ocean from the tanks, that, it's just going to dilute in the Pacific. Air pollution and ocean dumping have been based on a philosophy of dilution and dispersion. It was thought wishfully that the winds and water would spread the toxic radioactive chemicals so that no individual person could receive a harmful dose, i.e. a dose above the damage threshold. It is now known that there is no threshold, and the same number of deaths will be caused whether the toxic material is diluted or not. The difference is that with dilution, the health problems are spread over a larger population, and it is more difficult for the victim to trace the health damage back to the polluter. 100 cancers in a population of 3,000 are easier to see than 100 cancers in a population of 3 million people. So it doesn't change the outcome at all. And she was a nuclear physicist. It doesn't matter if I am technically or not. I surely am intelligent enough to understand bullshit when I hear it. I love you, family. Go to 25000yearcycle.org, where you are going to get your healing done. You should be able to get your healing done. And yeah, I think I said all I need to say about all of this. All right, share the information. Donate. I have the links to my Patreon and my Cash App right there in the pinned comment, and I appreciate all of you who regularly do so. You keep me warrior strong, okay? All right. Remember, straight black pride is our ownership papers to forever. I'll see you again, probably, I don't know, this time really in like 10 days. It's just the whole thing with Umar. That was just too much. And I love our wonderful brother, Mad Black TV, definitively. Doing this is all about Umar and just what they did. I'm sure he didn't take that off, because I've seen the brother just expose the shenanigans of the boule, and that's a wonderful thing, okay? All right, peace and blessings.